Welcome back to The Real Grind, guys. This is where we talk real estate while we sip on a great cup of
coffee.
Let's go. Italo, have you ever imagined how would it be for you to work with your spouse?
Yes and no, because it could be fun, but it can be difficult at times. I think it's a challenge. I would say that's my perspective on it.
Yeah, definitely. So we did have a recently episode here where Dad and I share a little bit how it is to work together. But today, this couple, they do work together and they build a huge empire and an awesome portfolio of real estate. But before of that, we'll bring them in here. Let's get the show started.
Let's go.
Waking up to success, now we're getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on gourmet coffee, the real grind. This is the real grind. Let's go.
So they acquire over 105 multifamily apartment complexes that represent 22,000 units and doors. They oversee and manage the financial performance of the assets value at over $350+ million. And they're amazing people. They're dear friends of mine. We'd like to welcome on the stage, Kerry and Bonnie Staples. Let's go! Oh, let's go. Have a seat, get comfortable. Oh my God, what a pleasure to have both of you guys here. I've been trying to get this stool here since we started the show. Finally, it's here.
We're
glad
so glad
to be here. Honored to be here.
Absolutely.
Super happy. And guys, with no further ado, this show, it's also to feature successful people like yourselves and to share with the audience how you guys started, right? And sometimes we even take a little bit back, as I see some that people go straight into the mechanics, but I like to hear a little bit back. And if y'all can share a little bit, Bonnie, starting with you, your beginnings, where you're from, the little Bonnie. Go ahead and share.
Awesome. So I actually worked at Merrill Lynch for 33 years. And I started when I was 3, you guys, so you know how old I am now. And but I absolutely loved my job, loved what I did, loved helping and serving the clients. And then Kerry worked at IBM, and he was there for 18 to 20 years. And when he got laid off of his job, that really is what opened our eyes to that we needed to make a little change. So
and that change came to fruition to a nice empire. But what city are you from?
Pardon me?
Where are you from? What city?
So, well, that's a big question, right? So I'm from Texas. I'm totally from Texas, but lived all over Texas. I landed in Dallas, but I started in Brownsville, Texas, which is the very tip border of Texas. Matamoros is our city town next to us, which is Mexico. So,
wow. So she's Mexican by heart.
That's why I love that Latin music,
definitely.
So.
Yeah, that's got it, bro. That's got it, bro. And a lot of the influence. What about you, Kerry? What city are you from and your beginnings, man?
I grew up very middle class. My dad was an entrepreneur. He did try and start quite a few businesses, and some of them were okay. None of them were super successful, but he did okay. And we would have a good time, and then there would be a struggle. Then a good time, then there was a struggle. So for me, I saw that there was value in running your own business and doing that, but I just got complacent. I was working at IBM. I was making good money. I got very comfortable and said, hey, I was making over 100K thousand. I was like, I'm good. So
Made it.
Made it basically is what I was thinking. So, but so I grew up in a little town called Saxe, which is right outside of Garland. And Garland, anyone that knows Garland, Texas, is a blue collar town.
Yeah,
and that's where I grew up.
How much you grew out there?
I was there my whole entire life.
Really?
Yeah,
and you went back there.
I was not like Bonnie. I did not move around. I lived in Bedford until I was 3, and then the rest of my life was in the same house.
Is that a street somewhere in there, and they call Kerry Staples? That should be a lane, Kerry Staples Lane.
If you talk to some people around town, mainly maybe the police, they would know my name.
He's driven all those streets on his bicycle when they were just dirt roads. Right now they're all paved roads.
Yeah, when I was out there, there was no police actually, and then they brought on police, and the police they brought on were I would harass them, I guess, basically, because they, anyway, that's the only reason I was saying they knew my name.
So how did you get into the IBM as, for IT? Do you really like that when you were a kid or you were raised?
Oh yeah. So when I was a kid, I mean, I was into IT because I started with a 2400 baud modem and was, just playing at the house on my Commodore and wanting to program. And, exactly. So I just really enjoyed that. It just was intriguing to me on how you could build things and just the technology and how it grew with it. I ended up not being much of a programmer. I was more of a systems guy. I really just like the networking and putting all the components together and building, a network was my forte.
Absolutely. And Bonnie, how did you get to start working at Merrill Lynch?
Well, so
That's some status there.
yeah, it's so funny that when I first started working for Merrill Lynch, when I was offered the job, I really didn't even know what I was getting into. I knew I was going to work for Merrill Lynch, which I knew it was a big company. And when I went to my bosses that I was going to give them my notice that I was going to leave to go to Merrill Lynch, and I gave them a month's notice, they were like, "Well, are you working for the real estate division or the financing or the financial division?" And I had no clue. I didn't even really know which part of Merrill Lynch I was going to. All I knew was that it was Merrill Lynch.
Yeah,
And I knew
I didn't even know either. You telling me that.
Exactly. It's like I wanted to that. Now Merrill Lynch doesn't have a real estate any longer,
Okay.
but it was actually the investment side is what I was going to work for. But I had
You
no
took
clue.
over. Now she did her own.
That's right.
Yeah. So I was, like I said, I was only 3 when I started there. I was very young, and people even asked, does she even have a driver's license? Can she even drive to work? So I was very young, very, very blessed, very fortunate to be where I was. And yet, like with Kerry, I also got very comfortable in that situation. I got very stagnant, meaning I just felt sort of almost, I didn't feel this way, but I now know that I was almost handcuffed to that job
Yeah.
because it's sort of, you get stuck in your comfort zone. And that's what real estate has done for us, is able to us to break free of that comfort zone. So,
'Cause the progression sometimes, like when we, go to school and get good grades and then we get a job now, then we get the hires, you can go to your job. And then you think like, you think that's what life is. But the ambition of something else, get out of your comfort zone, because, we sometimes get comfortable in our jobs, right?
Absolutely.
And that's really cool. And I want to cover a little bit after. I want to know exactly how you guys started with the real estate experience. But before that, what was the change that you guys felt on your jobs that you wanted to do real estate? What did it change? Was that because you heard somewhere in the book, or what was the spike?
So I think for us, we were already interested in real estate. So we were doing single family a little bit. We had maybe when we got married, we turned both of our houses that we had into rentals. And so we were already doing a real estate. So we knew real estate was a good avenue to go. Plus, we have read Rich Dad Poor Dad and knew, hey, make your money work for you type, concepts. And then my dad was always saying, hey, I'm trying to find a way that I can make money where I don't have to be at work. He never really figured that out. But then I was like, well, real estate's the answer. So when I got laid off from IBM, that's what then goes, all right, we really need to find a way that we can take control back. And we knew 80% or more of the wealth in this country was built off of real estate. So we knew that was the way to go. And we just needed to figure out which path we wanted to go and which asset class in real estate we wanted to go after.
yeah. And we also realized through that, there was actually a couple of things happened, but we realized through that is that although we had been very dedicated to our job, but companies are not dedicated to us, really. So when he got laid off after 18 years, we're like, that was just an eye opener to us. It's like, wow, we're not secure in this position that we put so much value in. That it was our security. And so when he got laid off at IBM, that really opened our eyes. And, we started exploring even more. We were doing the single family. And what we realized with that, it was going to take a lot of single family to replace our income. And I was doing the searching of that, of the single family. And it was like, okay, we're up to 4 or 5. And it's like, it's going to take like 50 to replace one of our income. Right. And so it's like, so then we started looking at multifamily. And we did look at a couple early on in our career, like one was 11 units. And when we talk about that 11
It
unit
was in a
deal,
very rough neighborhood.
it was,
too,
yeah,
very
down
rough.
Grand Avenue and in Dallas, and it's a very sketchy area. And we went to look at this 11 unit, and the owner of that property actually toured it for us because he was actually on that property every single
Was he
day.
packing heat?
Probably, he probably was.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But
But we were grateful that we
Yeah.
didn't move forward with that.
And how many houses did you guys had acquire before you went to multifamily?
Yeah, so we only had, I think, 5 before we went to multifamily. But once we learned about multifamily and not the 11 unit, we didn't do the 11 unit, thank goodness. We would have definitely not moved forward with multifamily if we would have done that. But we learned that you do not have to start with single family. We had come from a teaching that was saying, okay, you need to do single family first and get at least 10. That was what they were telling us, at least 10. Well, that's sort of a little bit hard with financing because we had to do half of them in Kerry's name and half of them in mine because of the way the single family financing goes under your name. So when we went to a seminar that actually told us that no, you did not have to do single family first, you could just go straight into multifamily. I was like, okay, sign me up. This is what I want to
This
do.
scalability. But we're gonna touch on that subject after, because guess what?
What?
Guess what time it is?
Coffee?
Coffee
It's
time.
coffee
Woohoo!
time. Let's go.
Awesome.
What's up? There you go.
Awesome.
How
Hey
are
there.
you?
Great.
Good to see you.
Good to
You
see
too,
you
you
always.
too.
Thanks for
Yes.
coming to the
Yeah,
show.
Absolutely.
This is awesome.
Do you guys like coffee?
We love coffee. What
like
kind
it.
of
How much
delicious
do you
coffee
like
do we
coffee?
have today?
Well,
No, but hold on. How much do you like coffee?
I like coffee a lot.
Because I think whenever I see you guys at the conference and stuff, I think I've always seen you drinking coffee. You always have your
Yes.
what do you call it? The
Yeti.
Yeah, the Yetis and stuff.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So I think we're off to a good start. So this coffee here, actually, Ender and Delia, you brought this from, was it San Antonio?
no, Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool. Look at the box on
It's
this thing. Like the
beautiful.
presentation.
Very beautiful.
I'm a sucker for like packaging.
Yeah, me
So
too, man. I buy,
Love it. Love that
don't judge
color.
the book by the cover. I almost judging my cover because I like stuff like that. It just caught my attention.
But you know what's
Nice.
funny though? For coffee, that's tricky because when you go to like a store, everything it's so nice in there, but the coffee in there is not gonna be as great.
True.
But this one in here is legit. So let me
Awesome.
pass this over to Kerry.
Okay. Oh, it looks very light. I like that.
And this one's gonna be for you. Have you had specialty coffee before?
Well, I mean, we've had flavored coffee. I don't know if you call that specialty
No.
coffee.
That is not that special.
This is for you. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna try it just like wine. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna
Okay.
give it a
It
good
do-
smell.
just quick. Describe what is a specialty coffee.
So let's rewind a little bit. So the coffee that you get at the store, it's a coffee that is gonna be roasted at a very high temperature to camouflage all the impurities of that coffee, right?
Okay.
So this coffee right here, it's a completely different side of the spectrum where they go to the coffee tree and they pick each berry like by hand and they select the best berries in there and they're gonna make the specialty coffee.
Oh, okay.
So everything that's gonna go into your cup is exactly what needs to be in that cup versus what's the dark roast, like the coffee that is roasted at a very high temperature, that you're gonna need to put sugar on it, you're gonna need to be hot, all that stuff just to camouflage what that coffee is supposed to be like, but it's not.
Imagine
So
like
this,
this.
so this is like, Pike's blend from Starbucks?
Oh my.
Security, kick him out the show. And it's like a fruit, right? If we go to a tree, not all the fruit's gonna be the same, right? Some of them gonna be smaller or bad or whatever.
Right.
So they only pick, because coffee, it is a fruit, they pick the best ones in here in a cup. But let's go.
And if you look in the top right
Smells
there,
good
it
too.
looks like the little cup. It's dirty because you can see some stuff floating around, but that's the actual oil of the coffee that
okay.
you want in there. So give it a good smell, and then give it a big step. You can be
That is good.
Very nice.
That's
It's very
very good.
fruity, dude.
Very
It's
nice,
like
yeah.
That is
It's like a
that is
tea.
good.
Yeah, it's very
It's,
nice.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's almost like a tea.
this is gonna give you more caffeine than the like Pike from Starbucks.
Which is
But it's the funniest thing is like you're gonna get a clear caffeine like high on this, right? So it's gonna be more crisp, and you're not gonna get that aftertaste on your mouth from the regular coffee that you usually get.
Yes.
The yellowing of the teeth
Yeah.
and all that bad stuff. Forget about it. This is not
Wow.
gonna give you any
That
of
is
that.
really good.
And so is this the size of cup that you drink every morning? Only this?
I don't drink big mugs of coffee anymore after I start drinking this kind of coffee.
Uh-huh.
Mm-mm.
You don't
Because we
need it.
make one batch and we just sip it like this. It's
Yes.
just for it's not like watering down and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
actually, if you drink one cup of one of this, there's enough caffeine.
Wow.
So throughout the day here in the office when we're working, we just after lunch especially, we come
Yeah.
in and just pour one out, try one, and it's drink it
put
like this, like,
like-
almost like it's a tea. For
Yes,
Yeah.
awesome.
It's like one, maybe two of these, and that's enough for me. Because before, when I used to drink regular coffee, I would do like the big mug thing, and because it was more like watered down.
Mhm.
Right.
What I get of caffeine out of this little cup, it's way more than what I get from a tumbler. That's the name I was trying to remember, from a tumbler. That's like
Right.
a 20-ounce tumbler.
And so do you when you're brewing this, you doing it like with a French press or you?
No, this one I did with the clever. So I have like all these different methods because one type of coffee can deliver so many different flavors depending on the type of brewing that you're doing, depending on the method.
Yeah.
So this one is closer to what a French press would be, but the French press, you submerge the ground, right? The coffee
Mhm.
ground in there. And then you wait for a little bit and then you push and you get the coffee. But it's
Yeah.
gonna be more of a dirty coffee, right? They say, because it's just a metal mesh in there.
Yeah, some of the residues come out.
Right.
Okay.
This one, it's like a regular coffee filter, and you put the water and then you put the coffee on top, mix it up, and you let it sit in
Oh.
there. And once you're ready, you just put on top of a cup or a container, and you just flush all the
Okay.
coffee that comes down. So just different methods, and each method is gonna deliver a different type of flavor for you. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Is the flexibility and
So if you had to
versatility.
rate this for 0 to 10, what would be your score?
I would give it a 10. I thought it was really
It's
good.
very
actually.
lovely. And so I was actually a little concerned because I drink my coffee. I stopped sugar several years ago.
Hallelujah.
Yes, yes. I mean, I would get up for my cream, which had so much sugar in it. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I gotta go have my cream, and learning that that's not so good for us, right? Stop that, but I still do use half and half cream.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was concerned, like, oh, am I going to be able to drink the coffee if they don't add cream? So I was going to ask you to make some cream for me, and I forgot to. And but I'm
Good
glad
thing you
I.
forgot.
But I'm glad. I'm glad I forgot, and I was able to experience it.
Yeah.
The
The real-
the
the
real
real
the real
deal, the
grind,
real
the real
grind.
grind, the real grind.
That's awesome.
Very
I mean,
lovely.
hopefully that would start something for you, because I mean,
Yes.
you don't need sugar.
Right.
It's an amazing coffee usually. Like, and every time you guys travel, you can go to a local coffee shop, and that's the beauty of it. Like, you go to a local coffee shop, asking for the most like recent roasted coffee they have, and every single place you go, you're gonna get some different notes from the coffee. So it becomes like a wine.
That's lovely.
It
yeah.
does, and especially when you're drinking it black,
Absolutely.
right? Because then, and to back to the Starbucks. If I go there now, and it used to, it tastes like burnt coffee. I mean, as
Absolutely.
here, that was like
And-
really,
and
really
you see,
smooth.
you have
and good.
no lingering taste in
Yeah.
your mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
Look,
Oh
we-
no.
Very nice.
we-
And you can taste the flavors, and it's
We
really good.
created initiatives in here because people came to the show and I haven't had it. And it's like, man, I bought these things. I bought this grinder now, and I'm drinking every
Getting
morning.
texts and pictures all the time.
I can see it. I believe
Yeah,
it.
and it's
Absolutely.
great because
Yeah.
it's just like wine. You appreciate wine,
That's
right?
awesome.
And then this
That's
is like
awesome.
it's people do olive oil too. It's a thing. Olive oil is a thing now. You can buy very
Yeah.
Right.
expensive olive oil as
Sure.
it tastes. So beer is the same thing. So we're into coffee,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
People like Bonnie, I call them superheroes, because they used to drink regular coffee, no sugar. That thing is just, ooh,
Yeah,
that's why
yeah,
you did a
yeah.
half and half on that.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes, definitely.
Okay, but I want to keep hearing your stories. But before I go, let me give this to y'all. So let me pass this over to you. And here's one for you. So you get one of each
Oh.
in here. So you got a Rio Grind one.
Oh, lovely.
And you get a Multifamily Empire one. So you have
Awesome.
one of each from us. So
Awesome,
Appreciate it,
awesome.
guys.
Woohoo.
there you go.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Well, but once again,
Love
thank you
it.
for
Thank you,
sharing a
guys.
cup of coffee
Love
with
it.
us. And if y'all need more coffee, you know where to find me.
Awesome.
All right,
you
thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Thank you.
Hey guys, real quick before we continue. So if you want to learn a little bit more how to get started on investing in real estate today, please go to their website, multifamilyempire.com. And if you also want to learn how to do the best cup of coffee in your own home, we're going to teach you a lot of tips and tricks. Go to multifamilyempire.com/the real grind. Let's get back to that interview. Guys, I want to now touch on, we talked about how did you guys get started in the real estate of the multifamily, but talk about your first experience, like back a little bit. Obviously, the scalability of economy scale of the, buying 50 houses or going straight to a multifamily. What was that initiation there, your beginning on the multifamily? How did that all start?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I mean, we started at another organization that was telling us about do single family and then do multifamily. We signed up with it, and it just, I mean, we weren't getting any real traction. So at that time, I was at McAfee. After I got laid off from IBM, I was over at McAfee. And anyway, I had an all-nighter where I had to do a software upgrade on the network, and so and Bonnie had signed us up to this free event, and we were going to go to it. And
I had to drive because he hadn't slept all night. He had worked all night at this switchover at McAfee.
yeah, so we're driving to the event, and I'm like, why are we even going to this thing? I go, I'm tired.
Shit, I say
He
this
was
all
like
the
this. He
time.
was
with
like
that.
this. He was like this on the
It's gonna
side
be
of
a
the
waste of
car.
my
Why are
time.
we
They're gonna sell
here?
me something.
Why
You
are we
know, this
going?
is like, come on. So she goes, maybe we'll learn one or two things, and if it's not, because she likes to get a hotel room when we go to these things. So she goes, you can go up to the room and go to sleep. I go, all right, that's fine. And so we went, and I was like, man, this is all the information I've been looking for. He's giving me all the data that I needed, and I was like,
Then
man,
you were wide awake.
I was like wide awake. I was like, man, I was like jazzed and super excited about what we were going to do. And so we ended up, signing up to that program and was running with it. And then at that point, we were, looking for our first deal, and it took us, 18 months to find our first deal. And so that's what I would say in this business and real estate. It's about being diligent and being patient and making sure that you're finding a deal that's going to be successful. It's not about just winning a deal. A lot of people get excited once they jump in whatever real estate they're getting at, going after, and they just get overzealous and they just make the numbers work. Because you can make numbers say anything you want, but you got to make sure that you're confident that those numbers are going to come through for you and that you're going to be able to be successful with the deal. So it's why it took us 18 months. We were more on the conservative side.
Conservative, 100%.
And then we got that first deal, 106 unit after 18 months of.
Wow, how was it? The first raise, the first everything.
Yeah, so that was a really scary, right? So when we found our first deal, I would always tell Kerry, because I have my background at Merrill Lynch, right? So fortunately, God puts you in a spot and you learn a lot of things through what your journey, right? And I really feel like that really sort of set us up for what we're doing, because almost everything I learned at Merrill Lynch, I was able to transfer that over to multifamily.
Wow.
So there's never a waste of that information, right? And so I told Kerry, I said, I'll take care of all the back end stuff, but you've got to raise the money. So I would tell him, I said, you're in charge of raising the money.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, it's always nerve-wracking when you're raising money,
Yeah.
even today, right?
Yeah.
Still, but that deal I think we raised $1.2 million on it. And the first time, I was raising money, I mean, I was freaking out. 1.2 million. I was like, how are we going to do this? I don't know. Let's go. And so we ended up doing it in 2 weeks. So or it might have even been faster than that. Actually, it was really fast on how quickly we raised that first $1.2 million on that deal. And trust me, I mean, it's like any raise. The sooner you get it done, the better, and you can relax. And I was
Absolutely.
pretty stressed during that window for sure.
But the second part of our story, Kerry got laid off from IBM, and once we found our first deal that we were going to syndicate, because I worked at Merrill Lynch and I had all my FINRA licenses, I had to, what Merrill Lynch calls it, you have to disclose everything that you have an investment in, everything that you're doing. Even when we had single family, we had to tell them what single family we own. So they have to know everything you're doing when you're in the financial industry. And so with all that, I had to let them know that I was buying this multifamily deal. And we had bought as passive investors or invested as passive investors. And I had to tell them that they were fine with. But when I was now going to be the syndicator, when I was now going to be the top,
Yeah.
person on this deal with Kerry and I had to disclose that to them. And so I disclosed that to them. Well, that goes through, legal counsels have to go through all that. And it takes them about 8 weeks to let you know if they will approve for you to be able to make that move or not. Well, meantime, we're moving forward
Yeah.
with purchasing this property. And through all that, for about 6 months before we even found our first property, Kerry kept on telling me, just leave Merrill Lynch, just leave them and you go do this. And I'm like, no, I love my job. I love who I work for.
Well, then the other part is, okay, then I'll leave my job.
Yeah. But with all that, one night, I was actually going to go on a podcast with our mentor, and I was like so nervous about that podcast, and that's all I was really thinking about. Actually, it was live TV, I was so nervous, and I just said, Lord, you got to take this because I've got to go to sleep. I'm going to be on TV tomorrow. Well, the next morning, I woke up so clear that I was quitting my job. I hadn't even thought that I was going to quit my job when I went to sleep, but I woke up knowing I was going to quit my job. And so when Kerry got up that morning, when he came into the room where I was, I said, baby, I'm quitting my job today. He's like,
Today.
okay. He's like, okay, because he had been telling me for like
Yeah.
6 months. And, but that was really, again, one of those leap of faith that's what I was going to do, but I didn't even know how I was going to do it. And then after I gave my resignation to my job, I gave them a month's notice at that one as well. About 2 weeks later, I get the opinion from the legal counsel about me buying this property, and they were like, oh no, you have to immediately separate yourself from that deal. You cannot be a syndicator on that deal. Well, at that point, I'd already given them my notice.
It's like,
and
screw you guys.
I'd already given them my notice, and so I just
Tell me
finished
what
out
to
my
do.
I
Wow,
just
that's
finished out
awesome.
my other 2 weeks with Merrill, and then we closed on our first deal. So it was almost like I had to burn the boat, right? There was no going back to that, And after 2 years, if you're not in the industry, you actually lose all your licenses, which that was a big deal for me. Is losing all of my my licenses in wealth management is it took me a long time to get there, but
Absolutely. But if you look at back now, it was like,
oh,
Oh.
it was so worth it. I'm just so grateful,
Yeah.
and I think we needed
it's
those extra
because probably
steps.
that the license for you to get those license probably was a achievement for you or something.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we
it's
try to hold on to
years.
things, and
Yeah.
sometimes that keep us pushing forward to the
Exactly.
next
It
level.
does. It
That's
does.
Right, out of pride, oh, I already bought this, but
Yep.
no, sometimes you just gotta
I've
detach.
invested this much time in learning
Yeah.
all this stuff or whatever. You just go, tough to let it go and move on to the next phase of your life that can be, and in our case, has been night and day from what we were making financially to what we make today.
Guys, talk to me about Staples Multifamily. What is the criteria nowadays that you guys are looking for? What's the outline? Are you guys are growing this business more on the acquisition, or what is the future?
Yeah, so when we started this business, we actually got together and said, okay, what are we really trying to accomplish with Staples Multifamily? And so we actually came up with our motto, which is improving communities and connecting families. Okay, and so one of the things I'll let Kerry talked about where we are now today. Excuse me, so sorry. But our goal and our vision was always to come in and make a property nicer for the residents that live there,
Add value.
and add value for them, and so that they feel proud of where they live. Because we were buying C-class properties, so these properties maybe are not the prettiest properties, and maybe don't even have any amenities. Our first property, didn't even have a playground for the babies. So we went in and put the playground.
Yeah.
We did the picnic tables.
They
and
only need
do
a little
things.
bit of love.
They only
Yeah,
need a little
exactly.
bit, and it goes so long, and it goes so far. And so that became a passion of ours, is that we really want to love on these properties, make the properties, elevate the properties, and then also connect the communities together. So we have events that we schedule for the properties, whether it's a Father's Day or if we have a pool, we have poolside events, but things that they can connect with their community and make friends. And it becomes a win-win for everybody. Not only does it make the community feel connected to each other, but it's a win-win for us as owners, because it makes the people not want to leave. They They want to invite their friends to come live. Hey, you need to come live at
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
community,
And you
So
look at the data, the retention of renewals, which is our, I guess, our language, right? And you see the
exactly.
renewals, that tells you how much of a community are. Because talking about competition, I know the moving, it's a pain in the ass, and everybody
Yes.
put that in a factor
Yep.
too, and they're moving. But like having so many other places that you could live for the same amount of price range, right? That we're doing different. And when you do have strong communities like that, they
Yes.
feel like you care for them. The renewal rates is just, it's incredible.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
to your point, Neander, I mean, everyone wants to feel loved on, and without your residents, you just have a building. So
Absolutely.
why am I not? I mean, they're your customers. They're what's ultimately making that property value
Yeah.
go up. So you want to make sure that you're treating them well, loving on them, and truly caring for them, and providing them a safe and beautiful place that they're proud to live at. And then, to your point, build the community to where they want to invite their friends and family to live there. Then your retention is going to go way up, because they're not going to want to move, because, hey, my friends live here, my family lives here. So that's something that's really important for us,
Yeah.
that we really focus on.
That's awesome. And I definitely see that. I've been seeing on your social media platforms that you guys, posted, and you doing things for the kids out
Oh,
there. We
yeah.
love to see that. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. And talk to me a little bit about the portfolio today, of your portfolio. How many deals you guys been? I kind of read a little bit on the beginning, but
Yeah, and so we're in like 50 deals passively. We still are managing 8 deals right now, which is right around 2,000 doors that we're still lead GPs on and managing. I mean, we've moved up in class, so we're still. I would say it's still workforce housing properties that we're
hmm
working with. They're just more, like B minus in the B range, and
yeah,
kind of out of the C, and primarily that's just for the vintage and going with slightly newer assets. The older assets are just a little tougher to manage, and we're just. I mean, to be honest, we're trying to not work as hard as we have in the past, where we've built up. We're trying to go with something that's maybe a little easier to manage.
sure, absolutely. And so what is the criteria today to buy stuff? You mentioned about the C class, but it's like you guys thinking about your business as just scaling, or going to a potential property management, or vertically integrated in some kind of source of fashion, or you guys just more of asset managers and just asset?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say our goal is to. I mean, I don't know that we want to be the biggest player in the pond. We're fine with having 5 or 6 deals that we're managing and just kind of rolling. And we're at 8 right now, but in that 5 to 8 range, and just kind of stay where to have some we sell, some that we buy. If it changes because the opportunity comes, which I feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunity here in the second half of this year, early next year, on buying a lot of, so that may change and we end up with more than what I'm saying now. But it's about keeping a good work balance. We're fine with keeping third party on our property to manage our assets. We're not really wanting to scale and have be vertically integrated. I am looking to at other avenues, as opposed to just doing all retail investors, and
sure.
have maybe some family office money come
Yeah,
in and
yeah.
things like that, to where bringing a bigger chunk of the cash for us, and we're having conversations around some of that. But yeah, I mean, mainly we're just looking at 80s and newer, preferably 200 and bigger on the number of units.
Yeah. And we're still very involved, right? So although we have third party property management, I don't want my own property management company personally. So we just try to vet our property management companies out and actually work in collaboration with them, for what we're doing, because we are very hands on, and we
Yeah.
do want to make sure that our residents are taken care of, and we do like things run a certain way. So that's another reason why it's like the scale up quickly is not really our mentality, because we want to make sure that we're keeping a pulse on what we're actually doing, and how we're serving the communities. So
Well, and I'll speak to that, and you can speak to this too, Neander. But if you're gonna, I mean, if you're not gonna just put third party on it and then walk away and think they're gonna have the same vested interest. So there's work involved if you're gonna be a good asset manager
Right.
and a good GP to watch over your assets. It's a lot more work than maybe it's conveyed to us, that of what you've got to do.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, we're signing on the dotted line, right? All the responsibility comes back to us. You know what I mean? We're signing on the loan, all the investors' money. So we have to, be on the lookout and be involved to, make sure that the property management are following through your business plan and all that stuff. So, and I think that's a huge skill set that you brought from the your line of work, right? That you good with the numbers and checking and stuff, But super excited to have you guys here, man. What a nice story. And how can people get in contact with you guys? People are watching and would like to learn more about Staples Multifamily and invest with you and
Yeah.
getting connected with you.
Well, awesome. So really, really, if you just send us an email to support at Staples Multifamily, and if you'd like, you can even put in there, send me, like maybe on the subject line, say send me free ebook, and we'll send you a free ebook, which just tells you a little bit more, talks a little bit more about what we talked about today, and you'll learn a little bit more about us, and then that'll also give you the opportunity to tell us about you, and so we can start building those relationships, and love to connect with you guys. So support at staplesmultifamily.com. We'd love to hear from you.
And we put a link down in the description of this video. You guys can go ahead and check their websites that you out there directly. Super awesome, folks.
Awesome.
Great, But before you guys go, this is the part that we're gonna do. The spilling the beans with Kerry and Bonnie Staples.
Oh,
Let's go.
Spilling the beans.
Spilling the
On the
beans.
spot.
All right. So, cash flow or total return? What would you rather have?
Total return.
Total return for sure for me.
Luxurious restaurants or a good hole-in-the-wall restaurant?
Ooh. I actually like both. Can I choose both? That's my granddaughter. She's like, Mimi, I want both.
What was it again? What was it?
Like a very, very amazing luxurious restaurant or a small hole in the wall, but the food is amazing.
I kind of like the small hole in the wall and the food's amazing.
Somewhere in Saxy, huh?
There's not many in Saxy.
Golf or spa?
Spa.
Golf, easy.
I know if you said golf, Bonnie, I'll be like, that's
Yeah,
not
I would have
mine at
been
all,
super
right?
excited if she would have said golf.
Cold plunge or jacuzzi?
Oh.
I like the results from a cold plunge, but jacuzzi's much more comfortable and nice.
I'm probably going to say jacuzzi as well. Although I've done a cold plunge. We did very well, so yeah, a couple times.
All right. Zoom calls or in-person meetings?
Well, it depends on who it's with. So if I'm with you, it's in person. I get to see all these beautiful people. No, but probably in person is my favorite.
Yeah, I would definitely say in person. It's just more intimate. You get to know people better. I mean, there's something lacking. I mean, it's great, Zoom, but it's not the same as in person.
So if you're watching a movie, drama or comedy?
Comedy.
Comedy.
Children or grandchildren?
Oh, grandchildren.
Ah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's easy.
grandchildren.
Screw the children.
Grandbabies.
Grandchildren all day long.
All
Screw
the
the
way.
children.
Oh, yeah,
we
that's too
have
easy.
3, and they're beautiful, wonderful. Yes.
All right. So Office Depot or Staples?
Oh, no doubt. Staples.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
Staples.
Easy button. Easy
That
button.
completes the
We-
beans.
Hey, on that
Screw the
one, we
beans.
reached out to Staples when we got married to see if they wanted to sponsor our wedding, but we never heard from them.
All right, that completes the spilling the beans. Guys, super great to have you guys here.
Yeah, thank you.
Being
Wonderful.
wanted this to happen a long time here. But if you could tell advice to yourselves, right? You guys have just amazing stories and shared here. How do you guys came out of your comfort zone to create something greater, and now where you guys at? And I feel that you guys are very open to help others and inspire others, not just on your communities, but people like Deli and I. We're super inspired by you guys, right? When we started on this business too, you guys are like definitely an inspiration for us. And thank you for all you do. I know that we call you guys multiple times about asking for a device or something that we're struggling and you guys are being through. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's our pleasure.
Our
yeah,
honor.
yeah. If I was going to speak to my younger self, I would definitely say, start younger. And I think that we all receive those little nudges in our heart of things to different places to move, and don't get stuck in your comfort zone. Take those risks. And those little messages that are being downloaded to you are very important. And I would say, take a risk to go in those directions and explore, what God has for you and what He may be wanting or calling you to do. And you may be pleasantly surprised about what your future holds for you.
I'd say something similar. I would say, mindset's super important, and you got to be able to have the mindset to break through these fears, because fear will keep you, locked in a box, and we all get complacent, and complacency is the death of you as well. So I would say make sure you're spending time and energy around building a stronger mindset to help you fight through things that are holding you back, because where you think you've made it, you've not anywhere close to making it. There's so much more runway to go, and you got to keep pushing and keep moving. And we are honored, and just, I mean, you are a mentor of us, on an example of somebody that we see that does that day in and day out. You think you're here, you did all this stuff with the saxophone, and you did that whole career, and then you'd switch over, and so from that perspective, there's not a better person to emulate what I'm referring to about having mindset, pushing forward, constantly growing, constantly trying to figure out what's the next thing for them to do in their life. And so I would say that to myself back when I was at IBM for 18 years, just sitting there thinking I was doing good, and then watching somebody like yourself and what you've done is just amazing.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So proud of you.
And thank you. I love you guys. And this is this awesome couple here. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go.
Let's go.
And as always, thank you so much for watching The Real Grind. We're on Facebook, YouTube, your favorite podcast platforms. Remember, give us a little thumbs up on this video. That really helps us a lot. Give us a follow. And remember, this is a place where you're going to hear people talk about mindset. People talk about their ride or die. Who's your ride or die? Is he working with you? Is she working with you? I don't know. You tell us in the comments. And as always, thank you so much. This is The Real Grind. Let's go.
Waking up to success, now we getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on gourmet coffee, the real grind. This is the real grind. Let's go.